irregular. They just deal with the books of the department and say there is irregular expenditure. And I think they do it in all departments, unless they were asked specifically to audit PKTT, which I don't think is the case.
So
in that report,
it was not flagged as an irregular expense.
What would have been flagged is just irregular expenditure, not in relation to PKTT.
So there's no reference to PKTT and irregular expenditure.
My recollection of what I've seen, it goes like that.
Yes. Now, if anybody had said to you that expenditure by the PKTT is irregular, would you not have to go to the auditors and the CFO and verify with them whether that is so?
Not necessarily, because when I assumed office, I started working not to come to the commission. I was just working. So this just comes because of problems. So when you work, even when you collect documents, as I said, I made efforts to intensify my understanding. It was not because one day you will come to the commission and so on. So I didn't see the reason to go to CFO at that time, because there was no specific problem that had arisen.
And finally, Minister, just to confirm, the irregular expenditure issue was not one of the reasons you took into account when you drafted the letter on 31st December 2024?
It basically was allocation, the way we allocate money for various reasons to various programs. That was what was uppermost, as opposed to getting worried about money that is spent by the task force or TRT or whatever. To a point where one of the things we discussed a little bit more was personnel expenditure vis-a-vis other expenditures after personnel expenditure. And
it's exactly SM18. It's exactly the same document in SM18. And that's for the period 2024-2025. In paragraph 1, it sets the background to the formation of this task team, which you say the old ones, the pre-2022 ones had. But it tells us what is the background. The escalation of political killings resulted in this. And then paragraph 2, it tells us about their approach, which is part of your complaint, because you say the older ones, for the past periods, they told us what the operational approach is. But this request for 2024-25 tells us that it's a multidisciplinary team consisting, and it lists everybody in the team. And then in paragraph 3, it tells the strategy. It says this is the strategy implemented, analysis-led and prosecution-driven organized crime investigation approach. So it explains. So it seems to me that answers your operational approach. So it's not lacking in that regard. And then 4, you say the old ones contain information about the composition relating to the task team in question. If you flip over, let me see. Yes, this one doesn't say who composes the team, but it tells us. It doesn't give who composes the team, but so you've got a point there, so far as I can see. Oh, actually, yes, I missed that. It tells us at paragraph 8 that this team will be composed of 180 SAPS members per month for 12 months. It tells who composes the team. And then the last point that you mentioned about the old ones, which was contained in the old ones, is estimated expenditure is reflected in those requests. So you've listed what you say is different and good about the old ones. And then you go on to say the new ones, the 22 onwards, it doesn't have that kind of information. You see, in fact, maybe to be fair to you, let me tell exactly what it is you say so that you can explain if I'm reading it wrong. You say, on the other hand, the later requests are simply requests for financial authority without the required in-depth analysis justifying the requested finances. What do you say is missing from this 2024-2025 request, which was present in the previous ones and is not here, and therefore it renders this irregular? And irregular as defined in the Public Finance Management Act, because that's what you've relied on. You've
Yes.
said it offends the Public Finance Management Act. Yes.
Yes. The first part, so that I don't know whether I indicate here, is the fact that the money to PKTT comes from it comes from a program, not necessarily allocated for PKTT. It's a program then from which you take money, like operational center and so on. That is the first worry. The second one is that one that you are talking about, which would have been details as you outline. I don't have currently those the documents that you are reading from, especially the second one.
Sorry, Minister, what are we looking for?
Beyond 2022. I don't have that.
The one that the authorization 2024 to 2025.
Yes.
Okay, it's what you were looking at with Commissioner Khumalo. It's your SM7. SM7?
Yes.
At page 258.
No, I see that. Well, I see what you're talking about now.
Yes.
What perhaps I say in the paragraph, I think in my statement I'm talking about the extent of detail, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you say it lacks the required depth analysis justifying the requested finances. That's how you put it in